Yo Edert, welcome to what's going to be an absolutely huge Hollywood Hills as we review for the first time ever the combined round of the GXCCs for their penultimate round and the final round of the National Off-Road Championships 2018. Huge categories, big numbers, rocky, dusty, good layout of the track. I've had incredible feedback from all the riders and everyone who's been involved in this event, and it was a stellar as always. It's always going to be an interesting one to see how many people are drawn in and how many people are chased away by the fact that it's a national championship. This time around, I think it was somewhere in the middle of those two scenarios. Good numbers on the juniors as well. Remember, we've had fantastic support from our juniors throughout. On the 50cc's, our little bobbleheads, it was Bruno Nubia who actually walked away with a nice win. He had a nice ride as well, and I think the 50cc's and all the juniors had to set off a little bit later on. There was some, not timing conflicts, but it was definitely some challenges for everyone to figure out how to get all of those categories working in a day. So Nubia walked away with the 65cc win, and we did have good riders on the gate. Clarkey got a number 2 spot, so Clarkey's in good shape as far as his championship goes, and Mackenzie Bam bagging and tagging, as always, a podium. This time around it was a 3rd place. In the 65cc's, we had Logan van der Merwe walking away with a nice win on the tour ahead of Lucian Meyer. The story there in the 65s, unfortunately, an early race crash befalling Johnny Luck. So Johnny B unlucky this time around, unfortunately. Sorry to make a joke of it too soon perhaps, but he's a good kid. He's going to bounce himself back. 2 broken bones right at the bottom of his leg, so that's going to see him out for the remainder of this season. But it should give him enough recovery time to be ready as we go forward into the 2019. So for Johnny Luck, best of luck and heal up soon as fast as you possibly can, buddy. On the 85cc seniors, those are always the riders that open up our gate for us on the junior event. Matty Wilson has gone undefeated on the season. He's done it once again at this Carltonville round. This time around, Demal, who did show class at the previous round before he had a throttle jamming situation, he managed to actually get a number 2 spot this time around and beat Carl Branson. So we're starting to not see just the top 2 as the same names of Wilson and Branson the whole time. This time, Demal du Plessis puts his hat in the ring. The early part of his junior career, he's been very much focused on rock hopping and doing enduros. This time around, now he's becoming a taller rider. I don't know how much time he's got left on the 85s before he goes up into the 125s, but while he is there, he's going to be a big threat. He's going to take a lot of beating once he finds that form. Wilson, for now though, is still the man to beat. He's got a clean score sheet. On 85 juniors, it was good to see a couple of new names coming a little bit higher in the pile than they often do. 2nd place this time around in the junior 85s went to Keegan O'Hara. So he is in good shape at the moment, and he's not too far away from cracking that nice big win. The win today went to Troy Johnson. So Johnson should be in good form on the Kawasaki to try and maintain his championship points lead in that category. In the high school 125s, now this has been a huge story for us at GXCC's and here at Hollywood Hills, because on the GXCC tour we've had 5 rounds and only 4 winners. This was round number 6 of the Championship Racing Series, so it was going to be interesting to see who walked away with it and how the pressure of racing in the National Championship category as well as the GXCC's was going to affect the kids. Definitely on the 125 high schools, you know, we've got Robbie, Peltzer, Low Pretorius, Johnson is starting to get himself into the mix as well, and then Stormful Yun. So, you know, a ton of classy riders, and anyone can really walk away with a win, and most of those names on the list have walked away with a win so far in 2018. But what has also happened in 2018 for the high school 125ers is lots of crashes, lots of DNFs, and a lot of mechanicals, just showing how hard these kids really are pushing these high school racing 125s. This time around though, it was a nice good storm ride that saw him at the front. So he is the winningest rider on the tour so far, but unfortunately when he hasn't been winning, he's been not finishing, DNFing, or finishing outside of podiums. It was actually Robbie, Nardis Robbie, who went on to actually claim the 125 national title. The GXCC title still up for grabs, by the way, but the national title, with this counting as the final round, was Robbie. So he was really miserable coming back from the desert. He had a lot of problems. Then he had a bit of a crash at the GXCC, but on the national front, with national point scoring, it's Nardis Robbie who is your reigning national champion. Stormful Yun, though, walked away with the win at this round of the GXCCs. We've got to wait another month and a half or so to find out who's going to be crowned GXCC 125 high school champion. For our quad races at the GXCCs, all the usual suspects were in the house. Keenan Hammond was back on point, Gideon was right there, Xander Branken, everyone who was in it to win it. One of the most consistent riders on the tour still is Rusman Ferreira. This time around though, he wasn't going to be able to get himself onto the podium. Third place. Xander Branken moved up a notch in everyone's expectations as well as his own. He got a number 2 spot. Gideon had problems at this round and it's late in the season, but third will still keep Gideon in national championship, sorry, should I say GXCC championship points lead. Keenan Hammond, after problems with his seat coming loose at the previous round, bounced back quite nicely with a nice clean win out front. On the Q1s, it was Swanee who came good. He has shown speed, class and form the whole way through the season. He's getting skinnier by the second, by the way, so he's clearly doing a lot of out of racing and out of the spotlight and out of the watchful eye bit of training. So Swanee walks away with a nice Q2 win to get himself on point. It's all about confidence for Swanee at the moment. Remember, Swanee, when he was racing in national championships, was the only guy at the end of Brian Baragwanath's career to be able to run with him, trouble him and beat him at a couple of the old school off-road nationals. So good job Swanee, good job Keenan to walk away with the Q1, Q2 wins respectively. In the Quad Masters, it was still another hole shot for Brian Herbst. He's gone 2 for 2 so far in the second half of the season, and he came in this as a big threat. Hole shot, ran the numbers, and then I spoke to him yesterday. 10 kilometers from the end of the race, his unstoppable KTM stopped. So unfortunately it is stoppable. That meant we saw different names coming through. Steph Bester back on the pace as well. Good to see him finding his form after a bit of a luckless season. But Herbst is he's in it to win it for the championship. He's in good shape for the championship, but this will hurt him a little bit confidence-wise, and he'll be worried about his machine going forward into the final round. On the ladies, Nali Collie-Butter takes another massive victory, and her championship rival, Marty Backfisher, was unfortunately this time around out of the top 3. So that is going to give Carly all of the advantage and all of the momentum going forward into the final round. We'd like to stop and take a moment, by the way, to celebrate the fact that Gnarly Carly is going to be Buerta no more pretty soon. In the weeks building up to this event, it was Ati Simon who needs to go in for the ACL op. His knee gave out, dropped knee, as did Gideon Jacobs last year for Marty, and they're engaged. So we've got a couple of quad families about to start becoming 2-1. That's great news for us, and congratulations to Ati Simon and Gnarly Collie-Buerta on their engagement. So that was our quad categories. Let's just catch our breath for a second as we get ready for the 2-wheel categories, and there were plenty. For the 2-wheel contingent, busy. We're going to start things out with the ladies category. It was a great return to racing and to form and winning ways for Janke Pieterse. She was missing in action at the previous round of the GXCCs as she was racing up in Zambia as part of Team South Africa for the Motocross of Africa Nations, where an off-road racer, pure through and through, got 3rd place in motocross against the African continent's very best. So great job for her. But here at Carltonville, Janke was back on top. She beat out in good form as well, Megan Jonker for the 2 spots, and sister Annika down into 3rd place. Then in the Masters category, we start talking about the age group categories now. The Masters category, the 2-horse race that has not become a 2-horse race in the second half of the season due to Wayne Farmer's mid-season racing incident that just destroyed his knee. So Hall has been really having no one else to play with at the moment, and he seems to be rolling half throttle. He got another 2nd place. Remember, he got a 2nd place at the previous round. In fact, it was the first time we'd ever said that it was a Bert Smith Racing lockout. So Hall getting a number 2 spot this time, and that meant it was a new winner on the tour. Francois Smallberger getting his 1st ever win of the season. So congratulations, Francois. And to Peter Hull, 2nd place, will retain and remain and see him as untouchable in the Masters Championship. On the senior side of the gate, this was going to be very interesting because the normal contenders that have been racing in GXCCs, the normal guys are, you know, Big Bruce Viljoen, Wade Blau in the 2018 season since he's come back to racing. He's always going to be up there. You've got Wayne Lloyd in the mix, and every now and again when he wants to swing a leg, you've got Guy Henley. So it was going to be very busy as far as those guys go. Then you throw in a little bit of a fly in the ointment. Championship points leader in the national championship, Bolly Van Rooyen. So very strong gate in the seniors and very difficult to call. Good gate coming out of Big Bruce. Good gate coming out of Blau, but the best gate came out of Henley. But he was going to be under pressure straight away. Anyway, what happened in the race was a nice good run in the early stages. Bruce actually got around and was able to run the pace out front. But around about halfway through lap number 1, Bolly came absolutely pinning past him, ran and hit. So it ended up being Bolly who's scoring in national championship, not in the GXCCs. He took the big win, and he's confirmed as your national title holder in 2018. So Bolly, congratulations once again, another one to add to the pile. Bruce didn't get a second place in the nationals. He did get a third place though, so he ran good enough pace. Wade Blau is strong at the moment, so those were the contenders and the podium places in the senior category, and they gave us one of our best races of the day as well. Okay, now it starts to get a little bit tight and gnarly as we go up the ladder into OR 3, 2 and 1. Okay, so we're going to start things out then with the 200cc category in old money, new money, the OR 3s. Quite young riders, a couple of them moving up out of high schools or 125s and up. A couple of guys have been there for a very long time in the OR 3s. On this day, the story was to watch for the national title fight. Jared Coetzee came into the round with a nice healthy lead, but of course, if you've been following the stories and following the GXCC Tour as well as Hollywood Hills, you know that he went down hard and separated his collarbone at the previous round of the championship. Bradley Cox was the man that took that big win at the previous round, and he was going to be a massive threat to the title. As the numbers went, Cox would have to win and Jared Coetzee would have to finish, I think, 6th or lower to lose the championship. So that was the story we were watching out for there. In the GXCC side of the coin, Darren McLeod has a stranglehold on the championship, so he would also want to be running the numbers up there. And Ian Rawle also threw his hat into the ring because 2 rounds ago he got onto a 350 and stepped out of the OR3 championship into the OR2s. But because this was OR3s and a round of the national championship, he got back onto the black bike and started racing into the 250s once again. You guys with me? There's quite a lot to cover there and quite a lot to remember. Anyway, what went down was a nice run for Bradley Cox. He walked away with his 2nd win in a row as far as the GXCC goes, and another win on the national front. So I think that means he's taken 3 category wins and 2 overall wins at national championship racing this year, and this being his first year of racing national championships. So Cox did everything right. He took the win. The other man that did everything slightly better though was Jared Coetzee. Half rolled off the podium, 4th place finish, good enough to take his first ever national title. And this is a guy that's been literally bleeding for a title, and I do mean that, because for the last 3 years he has stepped out of a championship fight or a championship points lead due to injuries at either the halfway marker or the 3/4 marker of a championship. He's done very well and negotiated his contract with KTM and managed to hang on to his ride, and that has just all been paid back this weekend as he walks away as your new OR3 national champion. Congrats, Jazz. The OR2 championship chase has been a wild one as well. Taki Botgiarges, after he got picked up by the Pepsi Plastics Factory Husqvarna squad as a fill-in rider for the downed and injured Brett Swanepoel, Taki looked like the man to beat. He came out good, he came out strong. A couple of riders almost matched him though. In the GXCCs, the story the whole season has been JJ Daisel. He looks like he's going to walk away as championship winner in the GXCCs, as he has not missed one podium the whole way through the season thus far. Taki's been slightly up and down. Where he's won, he's done great, but where he hasn't won, he's dropped out, and his inconsistency has caused him problems on the season. One of the most consistent riders on the tour though has been Gareth Cole. He only walked away with, I think, he got 2 national wins on the tour, so he actually did run good form, and when he wasn't winning, he was placing himself on the podium. This is Gareth Cole from KZN. He's been racing in the category for a few seasons now, always kind of like boxed out a little bit. 2 years ago, just couldn't make it onto the podium every single time. Last year was on the podium every single time, but of course he was fighting against people like Brett Swanepoel and Lawrence Mahoney the whole way through the season. So I used to say that's like fighting against thunder, you know, it's very difficult. Anyway, he's got good, he's got polished, and he is your newly crowned OR2 national champion. Taki took the final win in the national and the final win, or the penultimate win, should I say, in the GXCC series. So congrats to Taki. He's still in great form. Unfortunately, not good enough. Cole ran him close enough to be able to wrap up the title. So Gareth Cole from KZN, your new OR2 National Off-Road Champion. Great job, Coley, and nice to see a rider come good, hang tough, and stay in it to win it. Never let go. Great job. So, we've been climbing the ladder. That leaves us now with one more run to go. The very top step, the big bangers, the OR1 Pro category. On the national season, the story has been Ross wins, Kenny gets second. Kenny wins, Ross gets second. And that's how they've bounced the whole way through. They were sharing basically race wins coming into this round, and they were sharing second places, meaning that it was the closest championship on the page and the closest championship physically as well. They are so evenly matched, those two. It is literally a coin toss to see who's going to walk away with it. Yeah, Ross always gets the advantage in the desert. Kenny was closer to him this year than he ever has been, and I think that really bolstered Kenny. So into this round, it came down to who was going to walk away with the win, because whoever won was going to walk away with the championship. Kenny got a good hole shot. Ross did what he had to do and made a pass early on to get out front. And in GXCC lap racing, if you run out front and you are evenly matched, it's very, very difficult for the man behind you to catch you, go through the dust, and make the pass. And that's literally what went down. So it was Ross that walked away with the win, and with it, his third in a row national championship. So the juicy triple, a great job for Ross Branch. So congratulations from us here at Hollywood Hills and as part of the GXCC family. We'd love to see him coming across the border and racing with us a little bit more, but we know he's a super busy man and now getting ready for Dakar 2019, as is Kenny. So those two ran 1 and 2 on the day, 1 and 2 on the series so far, and ended 1 and 2 in the championship for 2018. Third place went to, it's hard to say the most improved rider, but he really is. And everyone forgets that, because now that he's in third place and runs a lot of wins at the GXCCs and runs podiums at nationals, it feels like he's been there forever. JC Nienaber has really come to life in 2018. He struggled on the blue machines for a number of years, and then when he made the big switch across to KTM at the end of last year and then Husqvarna at the beginning of this year, he's just become a different rider completely. So great job to JC. He got a third place on the day. Dart had his issues on the day. Lowe Schmidt was up there or thereabouts. But I'll tell you what, to make a top 3 in the OR Big Bangers is a completely different story to almost any of the other classes. The Big Bangers are out there. Everyone is extremely evenly paced, and it does come down to almost supercross rules. Like I say, in GXCC racing, you've got to get to the pin first. You've got to get the whole shot, run and hide. Because as we've seen with GXCC racing, the gaps tend to level out at around about 30 seconds the whole way through the race. They'll be racing for 3, 4, 5 hours at a national and separated by only 30 seconds. That means it's whoever gets out the gate first. This time around, it was Ross. And once again, congrats to Ross. 3 championships in a row. Rock solid. So that's all our categories covered. Well, I hope it is anyway, because man, that was a lot. Anyway, so that's everything done and dusted for the National Championship. Now all that remains on the season is to wrap up the National Enduro Series, final round of the GXCCs, final Little Impy, they call it the Little Impy, running at the end of October, and of course build ourselves up to the roof of Africa. I've talked well enough and filled up your time. No doubt you guys have got sick of my voice and looking at all the pictures. It was a great event nonetheless at the GXCCs, and there is 1 round left on the calendar. We'll report back on that and whatever else comes around the corner as we close in on the end of the season. Thanks for watching as always here at Hollywood Hills, and thank you to Gareth at Holeshot, our one remaining sponsor, for helping us out. If you guys do want to get involved in Hollywood Hills, as always, give us a little tag at the bottom here, send us a mail. You guys can all get hold of me on social media or give me a shout down the phone. Old school, I'll always answer. Cheers guys, catch you next week.